Richard Bliss Brooke here, and today we're going to talk about the rule of being locked on. What does that mean? Well, you know how goal setting works, right? So in goal setting, if I'm coaching you on goal setting, I want to know exactly what you want. I want to know why you want it. I want to know what it looks like, what it smells like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. I want to know what color it is. If it's a house, I want to see pictures of it. If it's a car, I want to see the inside. I want to smell the leather. I want to see it all, right? I want to laser locked on your goals. And why are goals important? Well, because they allow us to express our values, what it is we want, right? We want to go here. We want to do this. We want to have this. We want to be this. That's what makes human beings move, right? Is an expression of what they want. And goal setting is the tool that allows us to identify what we want. And the other great value of goal setting, if we think about, okay, when do you want it, is it allows us to reverse engineer a plan all the way down to what I might need to do every day so that I can knock over those dominoes and get what I want when I want it. So goal setting allows us to express our values, and it allows us to create a reverse engineered plan so we know what we need to do every day if we want any kind of chance of getting what we want when we want it. But then the value of goal setting is over, done, finito. What do we need to replace it with? Vision and self-motivation. Vision is different. Vision is not just, this is what I want, but vision is an expectation, a belief that success, progress is inevitable, that this is going to work. It's a green light story, that what I'm doing is going to work. I'm going to make progress. Doesn't necessarily have to be that I get to the end game, right? Doesn't have to be. Most people are super, super happy with just progress. So, if my goal is to become a multimillionaire, well, if I'm adding $100,000 or $200,000 worth of net worth every year, I see how it's inevitable, right? I'm making progress. But here's the rule of being locked on. So many of us think that the goal that we set, the vision that we create, the detail of the vision of the end game, like, let's just say it's the home where I'm going to live, this beautiful home, and it's going to look like this, and it's got this many bedrooms, and it's white, and it's got a picket fence, and whatever, right? We got all the details nailed down. This is exactly what I want. This is not a wise strategy in vision and self-motivation, because in the journey of going from point A to point B, if you're flying in aviation, it's pretty predictable, right? Now, you could have some weather, you could have some maintenance issues that deflect you arriving on time, but you're eventually going to get from point A to exactly where you set out to go, point B. But in the real world, I want you to think about aviation like this. We take off point A. This is where I'm launching from. I want to go to point B. That's my end game. That's my goal. That's my vision. I want to get exactly to that place, that beach, that house, that sunset. That's my vision. And the challenge is aviation in real life, when it comes to success, looks like this. You're flying from point A to point B, and there's about 1 million other people, or 10 million other people, or 300 million other people, or 8 billion other people flying from their point A to their point B. And they have no idea that you're even out there. They don't know what elevation you're flying at or what direction you're flying at, and they don't care. They're just doing their thing, right? So they run interference. And sometimes there's people that are flying exactly from point B to point A, and they're flying at our altitude and our same direction, head-on collision. Then there's weather, right? And it's not just the occasional thunderstorm. What's out there in the world is a combination of hurricanes and typhoons and thunderstorms and 1,000-year floods and record-setting, pavement melting heat and All this stuff is out there. That's life, right? And how does that show up? Well, it shows up as people that we're counting on dying, and then we're distracted, and people getting sick, and we're distracted, and people getting married, and people having babies, and people losing their jobs, and people moving out of the country, and people giving up on their dream, which was part of our dream. And all of this chaos is the weather between point A and point B. And here's my point. The odds of you getting to the exact point B that you envision are not good. There are too many conflicting, opposing energies out there in the world that you can't even see, and they're all legit. They all have their own reason for going where they're going, and they may run afoul of you for a myriad of reasons. So how do you prosper in that environment? How do you still be successful in that environment? Well, two ways. One is make the end game, make the vision, make what you're after the journey, the progress, the learning, the succeeding along the way, the contributions, even the setbacks and failures from which you can learn. Like, make the experience of playing full out towards something that you want be the end game. That's the vision. That's the goal. That's what you want. And then if you figure out what is the one thing I need to be doing every day, like what is that big lever that if I pull it every day, I'll knock the dominoes over and I'll make progress? Figure out what that one thing is and fall in love with it. Figure out a way to fall in love with it. Figure out a story that green lights you doing it. So you just love doing it and you do it every day. And the journey, the hike is what you're up to. You're hiking the Pacific Trail, and it's not like to get to the Mexico border. It's the journey. It's the daily hike. It's who you meet. It's what you see. It's what you overcome. It's what you triumph with along the way. That is the journey. And the last piece of how do you survive and prosper in all this is be flexible. Be open to pivots. Be open to different things happening, right? If you're just locked on to the White House with 4 bedrooms and the white picket fence and the bright green lawn, and it's in this city, you may miss the opportunity to live in the 7-bedroom, more beautiful home, but it's not white and it's not in that city, but there's a myriad of other reasons why it's better for you and you'll love it, and it kind of fits with the flow. So I'll give you an example. 12, 13 years ago, I had life dialed in. I mean, dialed in. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch or a computer program. I mean, I had it dialed in. This summer, I lived in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, on the lake, on the golf course. Just exactly. The home I lived in is exactly the home I wanted to live in, on the golf course, on the lake. I mean, I had it all dialed in. In the winter, I lived in Carmel, California, on one of the most extraordinary golf courses. My home was just perfect. Everything was dialed in. And then I met Kimmy. And she spent a couple of years in Coeur d'Alene and Carmel, and she said, I don't like it here. Let's move back to Hawaii. And I said, huh? You don't understand. I spent my whole life dialing this in. I got it nailed. I don't like it here. Let's move back to Hawaii. Well, long story short, right? I pivoted. I was flexible. And I found one place. Instead of having 2 places, I found one place that's better than both those places. I'd have never found this place if I was locked in. And for me, it is the journey. It's not the end game. You make the journey what you're up to in life, like all the good and the bad and the ugly of it, and you're flexible to end up where you're supposed to end up because of the weather and because of the 8 billion other people out there that are doing what they're doing, and you're open to change like your mind, then you're going to have a beautiful life. Don't get locked on. See you next week.